Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 1140 for the 8th of April, and there is also all the latest frontline changes and geolocation for on the 9th of April up to this point as per this recording. And I'm feeling terrible. Yeah, I spent many hours doing the trade war SITREP, but very few people watch it, and YouTube really don't want to push it. No, so it's very depressing. But it's okay. It's okay. I will just try and do, because it's important. The things that is happening is really important. So I still do the video, but yeah, hopefully more people will support it. And if you didn't see the video recommended, do check it out on the main channel. And I also just published it on the DPA news channel as well. Hopefully more people will get to see it, because a lot of important information and developments currently happening. So we're gonna start off with the Kursk front first. Some major developments had happened over the Kursk front, with the Russians announcing the capture of Guevo. There is already video footage of Russian soldiers evacuating civilians in Guevo. So this most likely is the case where the Russian forces probably have control up to this point, something like this, maybe. So the Guevo is over, and this is also reflected on the Russian Defense Ministry's SITREP. The situation report no longer put Guevo as fighting. Now the fighting at Kursk is only mentioning two towns, Oleshnya as well as Gorna. That's all. They no longer mention Guevo anymore. So fighting is being reported at Oleshnya and Gorna as the Russian forces liberated Guevo. And fighting is now reported also at Loknia, according to pro-Russian sources, claiming that the Russian forces, after taking Basivka, has pushed towards Loknia into the Sumy region. So we are getting really close into the front line to be renamed to Sumy front at this rate. So major developments at Oleshnya. Again, we have another geolocation of missile strikes on Ukrainian position. Previously we already have noted one, so this is yet another one. So the Russians are definitely using missiles to hit the Ukrainians. I didn't watch the video, so I didn't know what kind of missiles was used, or is it some kind of crazy big missiles. I'm unsure. But anyway, you can check it out. This map is in the link in the description below. You can check it out and look at it yourself. If you cannot see it, it's on Defense Politics Asia's website. You click focus and Ukraine. So it's defensepoliticsasia.com/Ukraine. And over in the Belgorod incursion of the Ukrainians, despite the Zelensky have announced that they are in Belgorod Oblast, Russian forces seems to have retaken Demidovka. Russian forces has been geolocated inside Demidovka, confirming the Russians have advanced into Demidovka. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the previous SITREP, and there's a high chance that the Russian forces actually recaptured the entire town. So maybe the desperation to suddenly announce that they are in Belgorod is purely because that they are starting to lose the grounds. That is a possibility. So if they did not use it to do any PR, then the entire operation would be entirely wasted. So the Zelensky's sudden announcement that they have troops in Belgorod Oblast might be relating to the Russian offensive. Fighting is also reported at Mariupolsk, Pokra, as well as Turia. It could also be shelling, not necessarily that the Russian forces are in this region yet, but the fighting is definitely moving in these directions. And the Zelensky also showed a video of a alleged Chinese soldier who they have captured, allegedly fighting for the Russian side. The soldier might be a mercenary. He might be a volunteer, because we do know that there are volunteer or mercenaries from China fighting on the Russian side. This is already known, so it's not a surprising thing. But I doubt it's actually a People's Liberation Army soldier. That's why I don't think so, because the Russians and the Chinese, while friendly, is not that close, not at that level of North Korean closeness. So, and even the North Korean one is really also very bizarre. only that 2 soldiers captured, and then there's a massive lack of intel or information to really suggest more. Yeah, like it is really cryptic, it's really, really, really mysterious. Shelling is also reported over at Krasnopilia, according to Russian Defense Ministry. And geolocation of a drone strike at Enohodek have hit 2 Ukrainian tanks over in Pokrovka. So, if I'm not wrong, this Enohodek is like a Predator drone type of vehicle. So it is a Predator type of drone. So this is the Enohodek, and so they have just returned into the battlefield, probably because of the end of the winter. Similarly to the Guran drones, similar to the Lancet drones. It looks like the extreme cold weather does disrupt certain drones' ability to be used in those kind of weather. So something to really think about. Although I got my doubts whether we will see another winter in the Ukraine war. I have my doubts. We move on to the Kursk front. Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, there is only fighting reported at Voshchansk as usual. Over in the south of Simonivka, there is drone strike on Ukrainian logistics. Also at the region of Losivka. So some drone strike in the rear positions. So that's all from the Kharkiv front. Over at the Zabarisia front, it went pretty quiet for this front line. We don't have any reports of any fighting in this sector. There's only a geolocation of a pickup truck getting hit within Kayamka, but generally it went radio silence in this entire front line. And in the Kupiansk front, this is the Kupiansk front. There is only fighting being reported at Stepova Novoselivka. So only this one. So that's all for this Kupiansk front. We move into the Borova front. Borova front went really quiet. Borova, no, I found a new tool that I can use, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be useful for us. Only fighting is over at Zarizove, only at Zarizove, where the Russian forces are attacking. But that's all. Now that's all we have, and we move on to the other front, which is the Leman front. This Leman, and in the northern flank, there is major updates coming from the Ukrainian mapping. So first thing first, strategically, Russian forces are attacking at Kharkivka, Makievka, Novomihailivka, Katerinivka, Norway, as well as towards Rikudo. And the most significant is this big frontline change over at Katerinivka, this massive one. So the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA have mapped that the Ukrainian forces have lost all of these grounds. And this also coupled with the geolocation and furthermore towards Norway. This entire region, and also there's a geolocation here towards Zhelena Dolena, also lost to the Russians. This is a massive amount of grounds being captured by the Russian forces, entirely securing Novolubivka and Nevsky. So Novolubivka is over here. This is Nevsky. So these two are entirely secured right now. So these two is entirely secured. And so the entire ground is now entirely taken in this way. And you can see this is a lot of geographic features. Forest, and then you have the tree lines, more forests. So this is actually a lot of forests and farmlands that is taken. Very, very strong positions for the Russians to defend after these captures. Yeah, this front line basically collapsed on its own. And then we shall see how the Ukrainians continue to put up defense in the future. But this entire chain of defense line, only left this part left. This is the only part left. And very, very surprising collapse. Over in the Leman front, the rest of the Leman front, there is fighting. As mentioned, the frontline change at Zhelena Dolena, where the Russian forces have reached the forest at the end of this tree line. So just small change over there. But in the rest of the front line, it was reported that the Russians have attacked Kolodyazi as well as Zarishny. Shelling is reported at Drobesheve. So that's all from this front line. And we move on to the Siversk front. Siversk front, we only have mention of Horehorevka. This Grigorevka or Hrihorevka is mentioned by the Ukrainians. They say the Russians attack in the direction of Hrihorevka. So I'm not sure where the direction comes from, because potentially the Russians can attack from 3 different sides. Within the Serbiansky forestry from Belgorod, or coming from Verkhomokamyamsky's direction. So it's unknown where the Russians attack from. And we move on to the Bakmood front. So this is Bakmood. At the Bakmood front, the Russians attack over in Chasivya, and shelling is reported at Novodimitrivka. Otherwise, I think there's a geolocation very far away. FPV drone hitting yet another artillery. I wonder how many artillery the Ukrainians can continue to lose. Recently there's so many that's lost. In the southern flank, southernmost end of the Bakmood front, fighting is reported at Kodyumivka and Ozerenivka. Otherwise, that's all from this front line. Moving into the Toretsk sector of the Toretsk front, fighting is reported in the Toretsk, the Battle of Toretsk, in the city of Toretsk, shelling at Klebanbik as well as fighting at Leonidivka. There is some important frontline changes over in Toretsk. Over in the north, we have Russian forces appearing in the new position far away from the city, and then the Russian forces again was relocated back over in the one of the hills of the 2 hills on the west of Toretsk. So the Russians have returned, and it put a lot of doubts into whether the Ukrainians are even in this place anymore, because this geolocation is pretty significant, which is a drone strike on Russian forces, which shows that the Russians have retaken the entire control of this hill. And so this of course put into question, is the Ukrainians, are they still there? No, they might not be there actually. So a very, very significant frontline change in this area. Moving into the next front line, not next front line, in the southern sector, at the New York sector, major frontline change over at Kalinove as well. According to Ukrainian mapping, again, Russian forces have captured this amount of ground, all these areas south of Kalinove and north of Arkhangelsk. So Russian forces basically have finally made some advance over at Kalinove. It has been forever since we have any frontline changes in this sector, so this is very, very significant. There's a lake and the street. So basically the fortification is not confirmed to be captured yet, but by the look of the front line, it looks like the Russians do have control over it. And we move on to the next front line over at the Pokra front. This is the Pokra front. Pokrov, and this is the front line. Over in the northern sector, we have shelling reported at Novoolenivka. Geolocation of Russian forces and Ukrainian forces at Darasivka in their battles did not change any of the front line, and fighting is reported at Yelizavetivka. So that's all. These geolocations, Russian forces over here in the south hitting a Ukrainian APC in the north. Nothing changes. Over in the Minokhrad sector, so this is the Minokhrad sector. Minokhrad is here. Minokhrad, and Pokrov is here. So Russian forces attack Minokhrad, Lysivka, Shevchenko, as well as Vivrove. No more updates in terms of the frontline change or whatnot as per the day before. We moved into the Pokrov sector, where the fighting is reported Kotline, Vivrove, Udashne, Novosahyevka, Uspenivka, and Alexandrivka. Ukrainian mapping have claimed that they have captured the entire railway line at Kotline, stretching all the way to Udashne. This is a Ukrainian claim. We cannot confirm this information just yet. The claim of capturing most of Kotline is still not yet confirmed until now. So if you zoom in, you can see the extent of the capture. where the Ukrainian forces have captured the entire railway line stretching all the way to Dashne. So this is a massive capture if true, but we have no idea what is the real situation. In fact, all the claims of Kotline capture is still not confirmed yet. There is no geolocations that we have that can confirm this change. So that's all from the Pokra sector. And in the southern sector, we have fighting reported over at Kotlerivka, Preobrazhenka, and Bodanivka. But otherwise, nothing else over in the front line at the southern flank of Pokra front. Over in the Andriivka front, we have fighting reported at Andriivka, Konstantinopel, and Rozliv. Otherwise, that's all. No news regarding at the Andriivka front. Over at the Velika Novosilka front, this Velika Novosilka front, fighting at the front line is mainly over in the northern sector. We have fighting reported at Dnipro Energeia, Bulatske, as well as Venepole. And at Bulatske, we have geolocation Russian forces advancing at this tree line, confirming the capture of Bulatske. So this is confirmed to be captured by the Russian forces. And over in the rear positions, there is some shelling reported at Koma and Zerka. But that's all. Not very important because these are shellings too far away to make any difference in our reporting. And over in the Zabarisia front, we have news over in the Orkiv sector. Geolocation of APC, Ukrainian APC getting hit in the south of Novodanilivka. Fighting is moving in this direction. So might be related to the drone strike of the APC, the armored personnel carrier. Nothing over at the Huepole sector, by the way. And over in the Kayamsky sector, the fighting continues in this sector with Russian forces pushing towards Palivka. Fighting still at Stepove and Lubkove as the Ukrainian forces build a very strong defensive line around here. As Shabaki, Russian forces have been geolocated in new position, extending the possibility that the Russians have captured Shabaki, but it's still not confirmed. So expand a little bit, but it doesn't cover the entire settlement. So that's all from Zaporizhzhia front. And the last front line is over at Kherson. And as usual, nothing much happening around here except one shelling at Sadove. That's all. So thank you for watching. This is the summary for the day of 1140 for the 8th of April. So do check out the trade war SITREP, and also press the like button, subscribe. We are still going for 100,000, but the past few days, just because I'm talking about China, people unsubscribe. And yeah, it evens out. It just didn't grow the channel at all because there are still people who was joining. So reality is reality. It is what it is. The trade war is going to be very bad for China. It's going to be bad for the entire world actually, but it's going to be particularly bad for China. It would be quite bad for United States in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to be very good for the United States. But in the long term, it's going to be very bad for the Chinese. Actually, no matter what term, it's going to be very bad for the Chinese unless Chinese go to war to break it up from this trend or this trap that Trump is laying. But whether it is, you can believe me, you can don't believe me, it doesn't matter. Just like when I say how the war is going, there will be people who disagree, especially like the pro-Ukrainians totally disagree or don't like, say that my news about the Ukraine war is fake news. Same thing. Trade war, same thing. I'm not going to change my position. It is what it is. You can don't believe it. It's up to you. You think I'm propaganda? You think I'm overly pro-Trump? It's up to you. Just like the pro-Ukrainians think that I'm a Putinist. Whatever. That's I'm used to it. I'm just disappointed that the views is not high which means that lesser people is being informed. I can't inform more people because of how the algorithm works, and more people is going to be uninformed and going to be confused by everything that's happening around. That's just a disappointment on that side of things. So anyway, thank you for watching. As of course, I talk too much, so the link didn't come out. So this is the trade war SITREP. Check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next update.